I'll come to your question in a second, Asim. Let's get the YouTube live going. Okay, we're live in YouTube. I'll just close that. So anybody in YouTube live could see it clearly? It's okay? Okay, while we still have like a minute to start, I'll start the recording, and we have a minute, so I'll take a few questions in the minute that is on to answer those few questions. First question, can anybody join the group anytime? Yes, you can join the group anytime. Since our group is not a subscription group, you don't pay a subscription, you join one time, you pay a single fee for life. What that means, you can pay it anytime. And the earlier you pay it, the better you are. Let's say somebody who's been in my group for 2 years, paid one single fee for the entire 2 years that he's been there, and he has the rest of his life to be there. And I know people in the group who are making 6-7 digits money in the group. Not kidding you, right? There are people who are making that kind of money. I know one guy who's trading for a bank. I know him personally. He's a friend of mine here. I know one guy who's trading for a prep company right now. All my traders know him because he did a webinar after he left the group to go trade for that company. He did a webinar and explained what he was doing, how he made that success. I know many traders in the group who are managing accounts, and literally I've seen those accounts. Yes, I've seen them. They've shown me snapshots of what they're doing. So I know what kind of money they make. Now, is all my traders that? No, the majority of my traders are retail traders with very, I wouldn't say small accounts, because you have to have a sizable account to access the group. That's one of the criteria, that you must have kind of money to trade. I avoid taking people who don't have money to trade. Some people, they kind of get in, they don't have it, but they kind of like say, okay, I have it. Well, they know. The ones who did that, they know the consequences of it, right? They can see that, they're not getting that results that they should. They're making money, but it's not the kind of money you should be making if you want to be a trader and be successful at it, make that your living. But what's a good thing about it? They're not losing their money. That's a good thing. We have people who have lost their account and lost their money. That's true. We've had a couple of people. I've done one-on-one with them. And the number one thing they would say to me when I start is, I know I've broken most of the rules, but now I need the help. Right? That's the first thing they will start with. A few people haven't even called me for after 6 months after they've blown their account up. Then they call me and they said, well, why didn't you call me when you're 50% down or 30% down? We have that rule. Call me when you're 20% down. Let's solve the issue. Well, I know I was breaking the rules and it wasn't comfortable to call you because, I was feeling, like you would say, oh, well, why did you? No, I don't do that. We are not here to, in our group, we don't have that principle where we try to belittle people or do that. We try to help them. That's the point. Even if you broke the rule, you made mistakes, call me so we can correct you. The earlier, the better. So when you can join the group, anytime. If you don't do this course, you can do the next course. That was for that question. Second question, would I come back to the daily webinars? Yes, but now we have an ongoing course. And after it's finished, we'll go right back to the daily webinars. I know the daily webinars are very educational for a lot of you guys who can't afford to take the course. Remember, taking the course is not just to get the education, not just to get my series of webinars that I do, the series of classes that I do. Because even if you get those classes, somebody spam it, steal it, whatever. Let me just close this guy. Even if you get that, somebody steal it and sell it to, like one guy, we know he was trying to sell it to people and we actually caught him. But even if you get that, that doesn't make a lot of difference to you because you have to practice that principle. You have to have the insight of practice. You have to have the insight of our group. You get the access to being in the group with us and trade with us. You get that opportunity to become a good trader and be part of a wonderful community. And I mean wonderful community where people help you with all sort of stuff. I moved from Moscow to Dubai. And basically, the guys have been helping me with moving around to get rents, moving around to do this, moving around to get that solved, moving around to rent a car. I mean, my traders have been, the group of people here has been so, I can't even say, I think thank you would be a very small thing to say to them, how much I have to thank them. It's like a really big thank, because they've made my life so simple. Yeah, you know, I could have done all of that, but it would take a lot more time and a lot more effort. They just made it so easy for me. And we still meet here every now and then, have dinners with them and all of that. You end up with friends. That's the number 2 thing you should get in the group. So being a part of the group is what is important. Not just that you get knowledge, you get help, you get friends, you get everything. And it's amazing. That's what you get when you join our group. You get much more than just, you know, just the knowledge which we give you on a daily basis. And remember, our classes, they evolve. Knowledge grows. You learn more things, you see things different. Right now, only last week, we were focused on a pattern that we realized for like 6 months or a year now. We've been realizing that this kind of pattern, we were looking at it one way, but it kind of, you know, it kind of not give us the result every time we look at it that way, right? It's like you're getting that pattern wrong. And then we said, well, let's relook at how this pattern structures itself and how it behaves. And as we did that, we found out that if only we were looking at it this way previously, it would have been a big change in how we would have made money in a lot of, not only one structure, but a lot of other structures. And these patterns, they're there, right? Sometimes you look at them based on how you look at structure with what you know now. And then as you figure out that you're getting this one, you know, it doesn't behave the way you thought it should behave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times. We keep looking at that and we said, okay, are we looking at that pattern correctly? Should we be looking at it a little differently? And when we take those approach to learning, you find that, you know, you end up with new patterns that, you know, the book is written, maybe you may not find it in the Elliott Wave book, it's not anywhere, but you can see that there's a distinctive pattern and it repeats itself over. And that's what we do in the group on a daily basis, right? We grow as a group and we grow with education, we grow with knowledge. That's what we do. We are looking for an edge in the market should give us an advantage. That's all, because you want to make money out of that. That's the whole point, right? So if you're in the group, you get access to all of that. If you're not, well, you know, I'll try my best to give you knowledge as much as I can on a daily basis. So we'll come back to the daily webinars. All the other questions I'll answer afterwards, right? We'll come to them afterwards. We don't, if somebody asked about 14-day trials, you're getting 2-year trials with me here already. You want 14 days trial, go look at 14 of my webinars. We don't have that system. We're not, you notice I don't promote this. I don't sell it anywhere. I don't do advertisement and all over the places. And we don't do that. This is a serious group for serious traders. It's not that I catch you to buy this. We give you time to think about it. You have 1 year to be a trader for 1 year before you join the group. You know those promotions? We give you 50%, but you have to take it right now. If you buy right now, you get 50%. It's crap. Don't buy it. It's a catch. When people are trying to sell you things and they're trying to catch you into buying it, it does not have value. They know it doesn't have value. That is why they want to catch you into buying it right now. We don't do that. I tell people, go think about it. Come back. Don't take a rush. You don't have to rush to join our group. We're not forcing. We're not giving discounts to people to buy. We're not telling you you're going to gain this money. You will save $10,000 if you buy my course. We don't do those crap. Because what we are teaching has value. There's a difference between what we do and what most of the world out there do. People say, hey, you like to criticize everything. No, I'm telling you facts. And you can know if that is fact by going and looking at it for yourself. So we don't do those things. You can make that decision by looking at my video. Whether you think this concept, this theory we're using, the way we look at charts, using structure, whether that fits with your nature, whether you can use that to get an edge. And if you can, then you join. And there's a reason why I opened the chart today with Bitcoin. Because I'll show you what the trolls are doing out there that gets you people confused. They do that and they get people confused. And then, people don't know why structure, why they should look at structure. But I will show you why you should look at structure. So let's go back to Bitcoin. And I want you to go back. Take this as an end. Go back to all my webinars. Everyone that I was talking about Bitcoin. You know when I made my first chart on Bitcoin? I'll go back to the daily chart and show you where I made my first. My first chart on Bitcoin was made somewhere in here, if I can remember it clearly. When Bitcoin was going down, I think somewhere in here, further down. But right? Bitcoin was in that deep pullback. Remember that very big pullback there? Yeah, that huge pullback Bitcoin was making somewhere at the bottom here. I'm on which one? Oh, I'm on Bitstamp. I don't have it in Bitstamp, but if you were going to see, I think somewhere here, somewhere along this line, I have made one somewhere in here. I don't know if I can find it there, but where I put it's called end of the bear market. If you can find it, anyone can find it. It's a trading view, but I'm not sure I can find it here. It's probably in a 4-hour chart or something, but it's somewhere in here, somewhere at the bottom here. We're always showing that that bear market is ending, and they're probably, you will see a straight line going down. When we put a straight line, what we mean is that the start of a bull market, not how it will go, but how it goes. And then we saw the first impulse up. We saw this and we started to see these corrections. So these were people showing me, right, downtrend. You see this was making a downtrend there, that is an uptrend, and where the buy should start. If you look at all my charts from where we made this, see that big sideways move before they started to go? I think it was somewhere in here. You would see the buy setup comes in. If I can find those charts, it would be somewhere even in here. I don't think it was this. I'm looking for the bigger chart. Let me go to the daily. Probably in the daily we'll find it. I think somewhere in here, right? How we were looking at this wave count and where it should go. See? The A wave started, the B wave might come here, might not come here, but after that, you're getting an up one. And I think right in the daily chart, you'll find where I showed you how that big move should come from somewhere in here. Can't find it, but it's somewhere there. But that is not the most important. Somewhere here, somebody's asking me whether, after I call this buy for that one up, and I think this was the buying one. This was showing you the structure, and this was the exact buy one. This one was the one that says, looks upside to buy. Right? Structurally, we saw this pattern and we said that has to go up. So does the pattern work? Would you got a good buy at that level? Right? Let's go back to where I was showing. And it was before that. Somewhere here, somebody said, okay, I saw your chart. Can I buy now? I was like, no, you don't want to buy when it's at the top. You want to allow it to come back before you buy. Well, we all know that it did come back and keep going up, right? There wasn't a big question of that. Ask me whether I thought it would go to 20,000. Definitely not. I don't think then it was going, but once it kept going up, you could have bought in any of the pullback. And what I was saying to everybody at any point, be careful. And once it gets to a certain level, be careful. When it starts breaking top, take profit, take out some of your money out of the chart. There's a reason you need to take some of your money. If you're trading Bitcoin, take out some of your money, because if you don't do that, it will catch you in a very tight spot, because charts always make corrections. And if you were buying, and some people were buying at 15,000, that point I keep warning people, be careful, guys, it's very high. Oh, the trolls came in and said, oh, what is he talking? The next week it was 16,000, then the next week it was 17,000, then next week it was 18,000. I don't know what he's talking about. This guy ought to be crazy about his structure. I'm buying. And some of them bought at 19,000, some bought at 20,000, because they didn't ever think it was going to come back. Remember, it's going to 100,000 at that point. Well, where are those guys, by the way? Any one of you in here? Come on, knock on the door and come in. Be brave now to come and show me that you were the one who was buying at 18 because you thought it was going to 100,000, and it will never ever pull back. You remember what I was saying when it was the top here? If you want to invest in this, if you want to put money, wait until it come back, because it will come back. And all my traders who were trading it, and we have traders who trade cryptocurrencies, I said to them, be careful, take your money out, pull money, buy when it makes a pullback, but once it starts breaking those stops, take your money out. Right? If they weren't listening, a lot of people, and here's the concept. Let me tell you guys something. I'll take 2 minutes here because it's important that you understand this concept. The concept of these things of pushing is actually to drag, you see the reason they're pushing and pushing and pushing? It's actually to pull what traders out there like to call the dumb money. I like to call illiterate money. They don't understand. They're ignorant. Ignorant money, I'll call it. They're ignorant of the fact of how market structures itself. So they get trapped in here. That's the trap for them. That, oh my God, I'm missing out. I need to jump in this thing right now. If I don't go in, oh my God, I need everybody. Look, I didn't buy it last week. Now I should buy it this week. I must buy this week because last week I missed out. And they buy. And you know what happens to you when you buy at the top there and you see it keeps going up? You never take profit. Greed steps in. Greed gets right into you in the gut there, and you're like, damn, man, I'm making money. I'm not pulling out my money out of there. And you woke up one morning and you're here. 50% of your account is dumb, if not everything. And you're like, oh my God, what happened here? And it starts to go up and you're telling yourself, oh yeah, it's coming back. Yes, baby, I got it. Now it's going to go back up. And boom, now you lost your account. Right? And now you totally lost it. You know why you lost it? Because you had no idea what it's doing. When we looked at that structure, we know it was going lower. As a matter of fact, I said to my trader, when it breaks this low, you can look for buy setups. And if you bought anywhere in here, you got to get out because it will go down more. It's probably going to consolidate. Looking at what the structure is doing right now, they'll probably consolidate there and probably even drop more. Right? Probably consolidate there and drop more. And this might continue for a pretty long while before they go back up. Now, can you trade in here? Absolutely yes. If you're a trader who trades structure, you can trade in this structure. You can buy and sell in this structure on a lower time frame. So you can pull money out of it in the bear market. You can pull money out of it. But you must understand structure. You must understand what they're doing, how they behave. So let's say you were afraid at 18,000 and you pull out all your money at 18,000. You're one lucky person. And fear did serve you well. Right? Some of my traders jumped out at 19,000. They didn't get 21, they didn't get 20, but they jumped out at 19,000 because they figured it out very early. It always will behave like this. It will structure itself. So those crazy people out there who were going on my charts and said, oh, I think one of them said, he has no idea what he is saying. Look, it's 20,000 now. Oh boy, where's that guy? I wish he was here today. Right? I wish he was here today to tell me now what he thinks about structure. Ignorance will never make you successful in the market. No, I've never reached a successful trader who is ignorant of what's happening. Knowledge will help you. Ignorance does not. Right? Get knowledge. Understand how these things behave. And you will know. That's the reason I bring this up. And the reason I started with this one, right? Because there's another one that they're crying over, the pump. Remember what I said when we saw the structure? And I'll bring this up so that you understand structure again. As far as I'm concerned, this structure is a corrective structure. And that's by rule that we have in our code. Now, I'm not going to give you the rules for that, but I'll tell you that's a corrective structure. One guy said, if that's not an impulse, man, he doesn't know what else is an impulse. Well, you don't know. That's true. You don't know what is an impulse. You have no idea what an impulse is. That is not an impulsive structure as of now. A lot of things has to happen before that qualifies to be an impulse. But since you don't know, I'll give you a little, I'll educate you a little. For me to say this is an impulse, I first have to see a correction. And when I see a correction, I'll make an assumption that's an impulse and I'll get another impulse. Anything new? Let me show you a number of them. Here is an impulse. For me to qualify it as an impulse, I have to see the correction. Here is an impulse. For that to qualify as an impulse, I have to see the correction. Here is an impulse. I have to see correction because if I don't get that correction, this thing could reverse. So to qualify this one as an impulse, you got to give me a correction. And when I get that correction, yes, I will be buying Pong like crazy. But I'm not buying Pong where it is right now. And you know where we stop buying Pong, where I personally stop buying Pong? Right in this area here. Until that time, we were buying the Pong. Structurally, the way I saw it, that looks like a very close ending. Now, there are structures which could build more, as it's a corrective structure and it could change by nature. I'll show you a number of them if you want, like the Pong cat, right? It could change by nature. Well, when it changes, I need to relook at it and see, okay, what structure I was looking for and what structure did the market create? That's the difference. It doesn't mean that I have to be in that trade. One person said you miss 1,000. No, I didn't miss 1,000. I never thought of missing anything. When you're not in a trade, you don't miss anything, right? I can't say I miss a Ferrari because I didn't buy one, right? I don't miss something I don't have or I wasn't involved in. I didn't miss winning the lottery. I never bought a lottery ticket, so I didn't miss winning it. right? So I didn't miss 1,000 pips. I was a little cautious, and I'm always going to be cautious because I understand structure. And if you are not, you get lucky once in a while. Most of the time, you'll crash your account. You'll break it. It's good to be cautious sometimes, especially when you see enough reasons to be. So did I get that piece wrong? In general, yes, structurally, it's not the structure I was looking for. So yes, I got that wrong in terms of what I was looking for and what turned out to be. Did I lose by not buying it? No, I didn't lose anything by not buying it. I was waiting for a sell setup. As a matter of fact, I took a number of sell setups in it. Right? Most of my traders got break even. If you take a small loss and all, even that's not a big deal. You will take a few losses, but I didn't. Right? So that's a whole different story of how I trade. Now, what we're going to look for to confirm that this will be, like I said, it has to make that corrective structure here. When we get that corrective structure, then we will make an assumption that, you know what? This was one of those structures that started very slow to the upside. We'll look at the internal waves in it and we'll decide whether that fits for an impulsive wave to the upside. The whole structure in general. And that is possible. It's not that it's impossible, but the starting was very slow. And that does not mean that you cannot have it here and then have it fall. You've never seen them do that. Look, they did it right here. Made a very nice one, drop it, and look what it did. Reversed. You know what we thought when it was at the top there? You think I was crazily buying it? I don't think I was buying it. If you go back to my charts, I think the 4-hour charts will show you. There's a chart where I published the day before that thing fell. And that was the day before Brexit. Do you think I was buying there? You see what I was looking for? The end of a C wave. And after a C wave end, you're looking for an impulse to the downside. See? It's pretty easy. When you understand what structure does, this thing was going up crazy, but that doesn't mean it's going to go forever. At some point, those who thought they were buying there because, oh, it's going up, God learned a lesson. Right? Those who bought there learned a lesson. That not because it's going up, you have to buy. Not everything that is moving up means you have to jump on it. Because you're jumping on it exactly at the top. And then you learn a lesson. See? That's the difference between what we do in terms of structure and what you can come hindsight and look at. You see, we make forecasts way ahead. We might get some wrong, but we make them way ahead before they happen. We don't wait until something happened and then come in some chart and say, hey, oh, I bought this. Yeah, you bought it. You want to show me where you bought it and why you bought it? No, you can't, because you didn't buy it. You just want to troll. So let's go to the webinar now. I'm doing this not for the trolls. I'm doing this for you guys who come here every day for knowledge. So you can understand that sometimes when I said, I'm not interested in a buy here, there's a good reason why. There are more than one good reasons why. And even if it goes, don't worry, I don't care. We wait for that setup. And when the setups play out the way we want them to play, then you trade. You don't have to get all the trades. You have to get the trades that has the highest probability and the trades that you understand very clearly. One of them that we understand very clearly, that we got very well, and I closed that trade only Friday, is the Euro Pound. And I'll show you why I closed it, because that's a very good trade. Remember that trade? Everybody remember I was in that trade from the top here? And then we said we are expecting this to make a very big move to the downside. We looked at the entire structure and we said, you know what? We would, when this was going up, remember it was going up from here, we stopped buying it at that point. We stopped buying it somewhere here. If you were following me, you would know that point. We bought it up to that level and we said we're looking for a sell setup. And then when it started to come down, we sold it to the top there. Right? And then when we sold it there, we said, I'm keeping it to retest this low. Remember that? I'm keeping it to retest that low. Well, Friday, I closed that trade. And let me show you why we closed the trade Friday, because we saw this pattern in the making. And we know that when we see patterns like these in the making, it's either the end of the entire structure, this 1, 2, 3 ended there, or this is a more complex B-wave structure. They will go back or break the top, come to about this level, and then go down. And if that happens, actually, I'm in a buy right now. So I'm in the buy, and when it comes to about here, I'll put that buy to break even if and when it goes there. Worst case, I'll get a break even out of it already, because I think I have about 20 pips, 30 pips, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a couple hundred pips up. I'm going to keep it until it comes to this level if there is no structural change. And when it gets to that level, I would look at this whole structure. If that is a big correction, they're going to go down. We will know that by the time they get there. We will see enough reason. We'll see the structure of the chart and they will tell us what they're doing. And if by then I think they're going, then I'll close the buy and look for a sell again. If for whatever reason this just turns out to be a correction here to go down, I will close the buy and look for a sell again. Right? We don't know exactly what pattern they're making. When they start to make the complex B patterns, they can stay very long in it. They can stay up to 3 years in a complex B wave pattern. And let me show you one. Since we're in knowledge today, since we're talking a little about knowledge, let me show you guys one so you can all take a copy of this and keep it. Punkat, you should all take a copy of this and keep it, right? And I'm going to go in the weekly in the Punkat because that's where you're going to see it. All my traders who do my course are advised to take a copy of this, print it, post it in front of them, and they must realize that every time you thought that the correction is a simple 1, 2, 3, and it's going to go up, you'll be wrong. Because the correction can be much more complex than that, but it doesn't negate the fact that structure works. And that correction in here took you 3 years. If you want to count it, I think you can count it. It's from here. I think from there, and we can pull it all the way to this low. Remember, that took 945 days. Did that change the structure from being a correction because it took so long? Absolutely not. It did go up. So if I was doing this chart with you guys for like 2 years in a row, I'd be saying we're looking for an up move. I mean, you'd be coming to my webinars for 2 years, and I would keep saying to you, we're looking for an impulse to the upside. And you would go like, this guy's crazy, right? He's got to be crazy. For 2 years, he's telling us about his up move, and it's not coming. And then it came. So if you, I wasn't showing you that, thank God I wasn't there when it was happening. But if I was there and I was doing a webinar telling you, I would be looking for that up move. For the first time I got the first 3 wave, from the first time this happened, I'd be looking for that up move. This happened, I'd be looking for that up move. This happened, I'd be looking for that up move. This happened, I'd be looking for that. And that would take you 3 years before it happened. I think some troll would be having a holiday on me for 2 years, right? Like, oh my God, what is he talking about? He's got to be crazy. No, that's how structure behaves. This is to let you guys know what we do. We understand it. It's not like we're crazy. We know when this structure is changing and we get out of trades and we take trades in opposite direction and all those stuff. But if you ask me to do the forecast again, when we are here in another chart, you ask me to do that forecast for you again, I would say, guys, we have an impulse. We have a correction, look for an up move. And that, I would repeat that every single time, regardless of whether this is going to be a complex one. Why? Because I don't know. You cannot forecast something that is going to be complex, and you should never do it. Because if you bought here on this move up, well, you will get some pips, not what you expected. You start to see a change in structure. Even if you got a break-even trade on it at the bottom of the day, it's okay. You understand that one. That's one trade that didn't work out because the pattern became more complex. Eventually, you're going to get this one up. Eventually, we're still waiting for that Aussie New Zealand one. Some of you remember it, right? Because structures always behaves the same way it behaved. Not always the same time, but always the same way. And that's what we teach our traders. We teach them how to understand how structure behaves, and when it becomes complex, you need to get the hell out of it and wait. And that is why I'm getting the hell out of the Euro pound right now. Although I'm looking for that big move down, I can see that it's not going to happen. Will that be a pound cat situation? I don't know. So I'm getting the hell out of it for good profit, and I'm waiting. I'm buying the opposite direction. I'm going to make profit in that as well, right? At least you know. That's exactly the thing what I tell my traders. You're trading from a point of knowledge, from a point of knowing, not a point of ignorance where you panic. You don't know what's going on. Oh my God, what is the Euro pound doing? We're looking for this move and it's not. No, you know. You look at every piece of it in all time frames, and you figure it out what it's doing. Right in this little piece, a lot of our traders in this Euro pound here, let me just show you this piece, who trade short term, make money in this piece up and down. Our traders were trading that up and down, making money on short term. If you're a short term trader, you can do that because there are many situations that you had buy and sell setups in it. Now, would you like to trade from a point of view where you know, or would you like to trade from a point of view of ignorance, where somebody said, hey, I have an arrow here. Every time you see this arrow buy, it will go up. This arrow shows up and this arrow shows down, and you have no idea what the structure is doing. You just follow some dumb arrow that appeared in a chart because somebody created some whatever to make that arrow pop up. And they have no idea what it's going to do. That's the difference. You trade from a point of knowledge, or you trade from a point of ignorance, following some, I don't know, some indicator, some whatever else you put in the chart. That's all the difference of what we do. That is the whole difference of what we do. And that makes a big difference in your trading. Right? You go to a doctor who knows what he's doing, or you go to a doctor who is shaking something, dancing around you, and hoping that the spirits are going to help you. See the difference? That's it. We're working in the hospitals knowing, understanding. We're going to doctors who know what they're doing. They've studied this, they've learned it, they've done experiments, they know what they're doing. Or you go to somebody dancing around you, and then you'll say, hey, maybe the spirits are going to help you. I'm not saying they wouldn't, they may help you. But I don't want that option. I want the option to the guy who knows exactly what he's doing. That's the difference. That's all the difference. Your choice. You make the choice. I'm giving you the options. Let's go start now. So I hope those guys, I'm answering the questions for the trolls. So I'm educating them. They're good people. Let's educate them. Dollar index. Let's start. Dollar index. Still going down. Has that changed the structure in the bigger time frame? Remember what we're looking for. What this structure here would be. Right? Is this up move finished? And are we going down totally? Now, there has been a correction. We saw that correction. We didn't think, I don't personally, based on our, we don't look at this correction as all the correction, because that correction is still within this move. We want a bigger correction, a correction that will tell you that there's a change in that structure. So for them to tell me there's a change in the structure, there will have to be a much bigger correction that goes down. But for now, since it's going down, and that if it's an impulsive move, it could go down a lot more, which means every time you get a 4-hour or a 1-hour correction, if you remember this, probably down. When it gets here, you be careful because this is the low, right? This could go up and then come down. It didn't do that, broke the low. So that means you're still in that move. Wait for a correction here, and if they make a correction, you can sell. If you think they're going to make the move to the upside, which is possible at any point of time, that will have to come with an impulse, a correction, and then you buy. Anytime you get a buy setup at the low, you take it. And I mean a buy setup, you take it. Because potentially they can go up very high. As a correction, even, they can go up very high. Every time you get a sell at the low, you take it. And you move your stop very fast, take profit very fast. Because potentially any point it's going to stop and turn to the upside. So from now on, any sell setup becomes short-term trade. Any buy setup becomes medium to long-term trade. See, that's the difference of how you look at structure. Can you on the monthly, I think it repeats its reverse as it did from 1985. We have looked at it on the monthly. No, I don't see that pattern you're talking about. I know what pattern you look at. It's not that, because what is it's still in a bigger, they still have to confirm that upside that they're going to have it. I think euro is going to fall much more. We'll show you why. I just can't go into the in-depth of it there. Maybe in one of those daily webinars, I'll try to bring it up and show you why, right? So right now what we're looking at is there could be short-term sells, and might be worth taking. Everyone, you'd have to try to get a break-even trade out. If the worst case scenario happens, if the good case scenario happens, you get profit out of it as short-term trades, which means you will want to take profit every time you get a chance to take profit. Every time we see this, we start looking for an upside, right? So possible we're going to get an upside on this. Euro, as you can see, this is looking a little more upside right now. Now, if you take this buy and you get a buy here, be careful when they break this top, because when they break that top, they can go down and give you that three-wave structure. Now, if they keep going up in the buy, all you have to do is move your stop to break even and wait to take profit. And I mean take profit. I wouldn't be surprised. And I personally think we're probably going to get this coming up here, and then they may drop. So somewhere here, if you get a break-even trade, you start looking for a sell setup. Let's see which one plays. I'm not going to take the buy, but if I get the sell setup, I'll take it. If not, let the buy go. Right? Pump. Pretty much we're starting to get a sell setup. If you're in this sell, if you took the sell setup either from there or you took the sell setup from here, you're getting a sell setup. It's not going very aggressive. So what you would do is watch it when it comes here. You move it to break even. If they start to go back up, break up that top, might be one more impulse up. If you get a buy setup, take profit. So your sell setup, if you're either already in the sell or you're not in the sell. If you're not in the sell, you have to wait for a sell setup. If you're in the sell already, move that to break even. All right? and wait to see what it does. Can they go up more? I think they can do, but they will eventually make a very big correction. So if you're buying on 1 hour short-term trades, you've got to take profit and get out at some point. Aussie finally hit the top. So we still have to see what this structure is going to do. And we've looked at the Aussie very in depth a lot of times, and I've been showing my traders what it is. I don't think that's all the correction, and I don't think this makes all the correction. But if they get one more down, that will definitely make a lot of correction. If they make something like this, go back up and then come down, that will make a wonderful corrective structure. So at some point, this has to show us what structure it's doing. So when they're at the top now, two things you start looking for. Either a correction like this to go back up more, or a correction like this to go back up more. Right? So something. Can this keep going up here in the 1 hour for a while? Probably not. It could go up some more, not very much more, but they can go up some more, which means if you take a 1 hour buy setup that you might get, which if you're looking at our charts, we had a lot of 1 hour buy setups that some of our traders took, including this was one from here. This is one from here. If you took these trades and you're with them, move your stops to break even. And when they get to your profit zone, take profit. When they get to where you would like to take profit, where your target should be short term, take profit, because you should have a short term target. Right now, the higher probability of these trades is to the downside, not the upside. The higher probability is to the downside, which means you're going to be looking for sell setups that will give you much more profit and better risk to reward. New Zealand, pretty much the same thing. Daily, let me show you. If you remember, we were looking at this daily structure. So I'll show you guys New Zealand as another example. Let's take this off. And let me bring the New Zealand here so you guys can see something. Right? Remember in New Zealand, I don't know if any one of you remember when New Zealand was doing this, going up. Well, that's about the time when I just started looking at wave structure very in-depthly. Before that, I've tested everything that could have been tested. And I re-looked at this structure and I said to everybody, guys, this is a corrective structure and we're going to be making an impulse to the downside. Well, I think when it was somewhere around here, making that move to the upside, right on TradingView, if you go and find the charts, the trolls are very, yeah, he's saying about this thing going down, but it's actually going up. So what about your structure? These structures are not working, right? The market is random. Your structure is craziness, right? Literally, the trolls are going crazy. All this structure thing he's talking about is just a guesswork. It's just nonsense. Because the market is random. He says it's going to go down, but it keeps going up. Well, we saw 1, 2, 3, so we thought it's going to go down, right? And then it made that. Well, now we know exactly what that pattern is. At that time, I can tell you at that time, we didn't know exactly how to look at that pattern. We actually labeled it WXYZ, and that is incorrect. It's only last year we actually started identifying these patterns perfectly good, because we started seeing them more often and we started trading them exactly the way they should be traded. Because once we figure it out, once we figure out what they were doing, we said, okay, guys, this is one of those patterns. This is how we're going to trade it. See, once you figure it out perfectly, because we've seen it so many times since this happened, we've seen that pattern many times more. And we started figuring out, okay, we know exactly what this thing is doing now. And the probability is extremely high, right? So they didn't make the impulse to the downside. Well, it always does. So what is this doing here now? We've got one move up. That is the start of a correction. We had 1, 2, 3 here. We thought this was going to go down, and then they make a top there. So we end up with 1, 2, 3 here. This should go down. And the downside was a good call. If you sold it, you definitely came out of that with money. But it didn't be the call that goes all the way to make the new impulse, right? So now what they're doing, well, they're pretty much going sideways if you look at it. But this, as it stands here, cannot be all the correction. I can tell you this much right now. That is not all the correction. So there is more sideways to come. If they break this stop and go as an impulse here, we'll relook at what we see in this. But as far as I can see them coming back here. I can even see them going back there, and then we get that downside. So we might be more in the consolidation here for a sideways move, which means expect some downside very soon. Maybe even tagging the top before they do that. So when you start to see patterns that you've seen before, you recognize them, you understand what they behave, you know that this cannot be all the parts in the correction. And you start saying, okay, let's see what other part we're going to get and how will this structure itself. Every time you thought you know that, go to the punk cat, take a snapshot of the punk cat and put it, oh yeah, you see how that thing restructured itself with how many complex patterns before you got the impulse? Is this making it a complex pattern in the middle, go one more impulse up and then fall? Possible. So now you start trading from that knowledge point of view of knowing what it could properly do. So if this is going to come down, I don't think it's going to be a fall. I think it's going to be part of a corrective structure still. So if you get buys as you're coming to the top, take them, but be cautious. If you're getting sells, you can take them. They're short-term also. Any sell or buy path setup you get, you can take, but both will be short-term trades because you're in a sideways move. Yen, we're still looking for the buy. And don't freak out. Anybody who's freaking out about buying that thing, we're still looking for the buy. See? Even if the yen comes and break this low, we're still looking for that buy. That will not change this structure. It will change the pattern. Right? See that? It will not change the structure. It will just change the specific pattern we were looking for. So the pattern we were looking at was this. A, B, C, and we thought it's over. Remember I said they could get more complex. We bought here, it went up, we got out of the trade. Some of our traders sold here, some maybe, I wouldn't sell it, but some of them. So we're looking for a buy from there. It dropped lower, we see 1, 2, 3. I'm looking for a buy. It comes lower, I'm more looking for a buy. If it breaks this low, I'm more interested in the buy. The buy just got so excited to me now once they break that low. Because now we have a more complex pattern that I know. See? See that? So if it breaks that low, that is what we want. Actually, now I'm like, okay, go break the low because now I understand if I know where the complexity in that pattern is if you break the low. And if they don't break the low, that's okay. This would still be your first impulse up and we'll be going for this trade. So I'm still looking for them to come break that up. And I believe this one might do it. If they break the low or don't break the low, we're going for that impulse. And it is going to happen. Right? I can take you a 90% guarantee that will happen. I can even make a bet against you. I could put a trade against any one of you who want to put a trade against me on that one. I'm willing for it. Because I know how this chart behaves. Right? Don't be afraid of the market. That's the number one thing you should learn. And the only way you should not be afraid of the market is if you understand what it's doing. Right? If you don't, well, you're in trouble. CAD is the complex one for us because we cannot say for sure whether, remember I said if you get sell setups, they can be, we cannot say for sure whether that was the C wave. It did break this top. And that is one of the patterns that very, very complex to tell whether that is a flat or not. So if CAD continues to go down, we'll just have to go with it going down, you know, and we're taking very short trades on it. So we sold at the top there, but we got out early because I thought this was going to go back up. This is not going very aggressive, so I don't think big downside is in it. But there was a sell setup here, as you could have seen. We had a sell setup here, and if you're in that trade, you took some profit, get out. So same here. Buy setups would only come above here. Sell setups, if they stay here, you can take sell setups, take it short term, take profit. Make another sell setup, sell, take it short term, take profit, right? Because it's not, you know, it's not very, or stay out of it. That's the best thing. Sometimes when they behave like this, you just stay out of this, right? You lost your account buying this last week, buying the CAD. If you lost your account buying one chart, buying one trade on one pair, you should stop trade. Go back to learning the basics of money management. I'm not kidding you. I'm very serious. This is serious because that is exactly what I'll say to all my traders. If you lost your account trading one pair only, you got to stop trade immediately. That's the first thing I do. I tell them to stop trade. Now let's go look at all your trades, and then that's what I would say to them. Let's look at all your trades and look at your money management. Because if you should never lose your account trading 1 trade, 2 trades, 5 trades, 10 trades. Even if you get 10 losses, you should never do, you know, you should never ever lose your account in that. It means you have very, very poor money management. And that's a recipe for disaster. So if it's the money management make you lost it, you got to change that. That's changeable. It's not something that you can do. Oh, you mean the yen? Both the yen, it doesn't matter which one, whether it's the yen or the CAD is the same thing. If you're losing it trading one pair, or if you all your money in one pair, well, then you're trading bad. I mean, Lord, the old English saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, we knew that from years back. It's the same thing with trading. The only thing we call it in trading is we call it money management, right? Swiss daily. Let's look at the Swiss chart. We're still in this big sideways, and we broke this low again. See this one, the first low. We broke it once, and we broke it again. Structurally, it still hasn't changed, but it's changed how this entire pattern might look. Right? That has changed how the pattern might look. So first thing now, we're not going to look for it to go there. We're going to look for it to come to this level. There's a possibility they'll come there. There's a possibility they're going to go sideways. So if you get a buy for a sideways move or buy for that ticket, if they make a flag here, a very small 4-hour flag, you can sell 4-hour, 1-hour flag. In this case, I'll wait for a 4-hour correction. I would not trade into a 1-hour correction here. I wait for a 4-hour. For a buy setup on the 1-hour, take the trade. If you get a buy setup here in a 1-hour, take the trade. This is more likely giving you a buy setup. Of course, I can see this crawling its way down here, but you will get a buy setup here. So if you get that buy setup, it's worth taking because the trade could be a longer term trade than the set. XAG, I think you got some buys here. We're expecting this to consolidate and go up. To consolidate, that was the buy setup on the entry order. Right at the top here is another entry order. If they keep going up for buys, go back to the 1-hour. Let's see. If you're in the buys, it's not looking very aggressive. So I think you have to start moving your stop, especially if this go break the top. Move your stop because it's not looking very aggressive. I hope that they go break this top. We're hoping that this thing eventually go break this top here, because that will complete the 1, 2, 3 wave structure we're looking for. Right, so let's see if we can get that trade. If you were in a trade in the Swiss before that thing dropped, I think most of the brokers, if I remember closely, most of the brokers refused to recognize that trade. I think there were issues with that, people going to court to them, and so I don't know. I wasn't, so I can't say. I wasn't in the buy or the sell either. That. But if you were, you probably could have. You might end up in fighting a case for them to pay you, right? Whether they would pay or not, right? Gold, we're in a big sideways here, and just in case you're thinking it will not stop going up, I still think it's going to come back. We're still looking for this wave down. They can crawl up a little more. This is now looking like this crawling up. You can see that crawl up. Once they got to this level, we start saying, be careful, you can get this trade. So let's look at that in a 4-hour. You can see that pattern going up there. Yes, you can see that. I think all of you saw the buy setups. You saw this one, you saw that one. You're seeing this one probably making a buy setup here. They can do that again, but the bigger trade will be to the downside. So when you see this at the top there, you start looking for a trade to the downside. Buying gold right now could be very dangerous. It will be a short-term trade, but it could also be very dangerous. You might not get to exit it in time. So let's look at the Euro Oz. Euro Oz, we saw this. We saw the break of this coming down. We thought that this might be the end of this down move to go up, and we took the buy. If you took the buy, you're out of that buy, at least for break even, which is what you should do, which is what I did, got out for break even. And now you're looking at this pattern here. See this? Look like there may be one more before they go. They will still go up, but this might turn out to be the 3-wave. We're looking for that 3-wave structure earlier, but it didn't happen. We thought it was going to happen like this one. See this 1, 2, 3 here? So we thought somewhere in here it would happen, but it didn't. So they came deep. They're doing this, and that means you can look for a sell setup here. If you get the sell, look for the sell. It will probably come back to this level, right? So we will still probably get a sell setup here. I think the buy may be over now because you're going to probably get this, right? So if they break and they give you a flag, good trade. Take the trade. If you bought this one here, which everybody should have done, you got out for break even. That's the worst case. It took a very long time to come back, so you had a lot of chance of getting. Same here, if you took this buy here, you want to move that stop to break even or in profit, because this is showing us a similar structure that they might make one more down before they go, right? One more down. With this one, we didn't expect one more down. We expected one more down on the Euro Oz, but not in this one. But if it happens, well, you will take the trade. So let's take this out. If this happens to the downside, you take the trade. The upside is looking very, very less, right? So you take, it's still going to make a correction and go back up. You achieve breaking finally, right? How long we waited for this thing to break? I mean, every week I said, watch guys, this pattern does break to the downside, right? I think all of you remember this, right? Watch this pattern, it will break to the downside. Finally, they broke. If you're in the trade, good luck. If you're not in the trade, wait for them to make a 1 hour or 4 hour correction. Now I'll probably wait for a 4 hour correction to confirm that they're going to go down, wait for that 4 hour, and then take the trade again, right? If you don't get a 4 hour correction, don't take it. This could go very long term. By the way, this one could be a very long term move because they could be coming back all the way back to this level. Not in a straight line, right? If they start to actually go very, very slow like this, you'll get a number of trades to the downside. Remember, we trade this to the downside, we trade that to the downside, we trade this to the upside. So you may get trades up and down if it's a corrective structure. But if they start to go very aggressive, and it looks like, the first impulse is always aggressive. If they really start to go very aggressive, they might even come back, retest that low, right? That could be a potentially very big trade. But just wait for that 4 hour correction and then start trading it. 1 hour correction might be a little too aggressive. And the 1 hour correction should be the top here. So wait for that bigger correction, take the trade, go. That would be a good trade. Euro yen is at the top there. So here is a very interesting one that we knew also when we saw this. We knew they were going to come to test the top and then go down. Well, they actually came very close to testing it. They didn't break it, but they went down. So that was your sell setup somewhere there. I think they will come retest this top and go one more up, right? We're looking for a 3-wave and one more up. I don't think that's the end of the upside as yet. The upside is getting very weak. You can see that. Very much similar to what we just showed you in the EuroCAD that broke. But this piece doesn't look like the start of the downside. So we think they're going to come here, go back up one more, and then turn. Right? Somewhere they can do a number of these, a number of 3-wave patterns. You can see them in here. You can see 3-wave patterns in here. Right? They'll do a number of them and then go. This one was a much bigger one, right? So we're expecting that to make some kind of a 3-wave structure, go up and then come back down. So this week you probably get a sell. If you get this sell set up, you can take it. Once they break or they come close to this low, they might not break it, but I hope that they break it. Come close to the low, move your stops. Look to take profit. If they fall through the bottom, good luck with you. You're in the sell, right? EuroCAD, we think this one will come down too. So let's look at it in the bigger picture to see what it's doing. See? Bigger picture, this is the structure you should see. I shouldn't be showing you all of this, but I think I did this for one of my traders. We were doing something, so I should. You got an impulse, you got 1, 2, 3, and then you came down. You got an impulse, you got 1, 2. We're looking for the third one, and then up. So we're expecting this move to happen, right? Very likely it will happen. So if you get a sell setup, take the trade. They're already showing us that they can come down, right? So sell setup either in here when they break out. The breakout might be, if you're pretty new in trading, you can't manage trade so well, probably wait until they break out of that structure, then take the trade, because within this structure, they can still crawl up some more. Remember that Euro Swiss went up like a hell of a lot more before they break. So they can do that, but I think this one will break very likely, very soon. Euro Pound, if you're in the sell, you can get out now. You should start being in the buy. You can see the buy structure. We're looking at this pattern. We expect this to go back up some more. And if this is going to go back, it could be likely because I think Pound may be coming down now. So we'll look for this to come here. When it gets to this level here, then we will see whether that is some kind of a big flat for one more down, or this is the turn to the upside. And it could be both right now. Right? It could be the turn to the upside. It could be that. Oh, could there be an extension of this going down some more? Well, yes, they could. So if you're in the trade, once they go a little more, break the stop, put it to break even, and let's see how far they go. If they turn to the downside, you may consider selling here. You'll be out of the buy and you'll consider selling it here. One more down, and then they're going to still go back up. This structure on the long term is going to go up. Short term, they could push this a little more. I don't know how far more they can push it, but once they break the low, I'm already cautious. But they can push a little more down. That means I'll just get out of the buy, look for a short-term sell, and then decide what to do with it. Punk Chief, it's going to go down, right? Remember this pattern I showed you guys? Watch it to break that top. And there's a reason that line is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, break the top and then break out. So how many of you in the sell, right? If you're in the sell, this is what you do. When these trades are behaving like this, you get into them, right? So I think a lot of you should be in that sell. If you're focusing, you should be in the sell from here. And if not, you're in the sell from here. Just wait and let's see how far this goes. I think long-term, this has a lot to go, right? It just has to confirm to us that that is the start of the downside. But long-term, this is a big downside structure all the way back to here and probably even much lower. If you're looking at the weekly chart, it's much lower, right? Punk Chief is going to go much lower. And we figured that somewhere here, right? We figured that downside earlier. See? We figure out it's going to come down to this level way back in the days. When we saw that structure, we knew it's going to come. So we're making another flag here, go tag the low, and then go back up. See? Nothing new is happening in the charts, guys. Don't be surprised when you see that. So what we're looking for here now is this to come to this level. And here they can talk to us, because why? They can actually go back one more. Remember that. They can always go back one more up. Or they're going to break through, break the low, and then start going up. But from here to here, you have a very nice trade. And then we'll see what happens. That's a very good trade from those 2 points, right? So let's see. It's a very long trade. So once you get a setup, you take the sell. Pangos, looking for downside as well. You could have got in earlier if you're focused on that. You could have got in earlier. You can move that to break even. It's just breaking out here. So I think they'll probably make a few more drops and then they'll tell us what they're doing, right? Pang Yen, we'll come to that. We're getting to the Pang Yen. Pang New Zealand, also look for sell setups. All the Pang trades are showing us sell setups. This one might, if you look at the structure, the way this was going, it's starting to look like they could go up one more. When they come to this level here, we'll see whether they break out or whether they're going to go one more within this structure up here. But it will still go down. Just that will give you a one buy. So if you're in the sell, you will move that sell to break even when they come to the trend line here. And see whether they break out or not. Break out, consolidate, more downside. Pang Yen just crawled up a little more. Nothing has changed within the structure we're looking for, right? We're looking at this structure. This one is very, very complicated, and I'm not sure we have it correct as yet, because the pieces that we're looking at are making sense, but the whole structure is not. Every little pieces that we break up making sense as it is right now, but the entire structure is not very clear, at least the corrective structure. So we're expecting this to come down. If you got a sell setup there, anywhere you got a sell setup, take the trade. When it comes to this level, we'll see. I mean, these lows here. Is that a flat for more up, or are we breaking down? Right? We'll see. We'll figure it out. That it's a little complicated. So, we're just taking it pieces at a time. And right now, with the pieces that we're looking at is for a sell. So we're expecting more sell in this. You're making a flag right now. If that flag confirms, it's a good sell. Punkad. Okay, if you took the sell, you got to be careful now, because as you can see, Punkad is the only one that has potential to go up. I think we made that clear very early. I don't know where that line should be here. Probably move. Let me take that off. We're looking at this top because this is the only one that has potential to go up some more. So I wouldn't be surprised if it goes. We're not surprised this goes. Remember, I told you that. We're not surprised this thing is going up more, because we expect it to go tag the top. So I would not be surprised if this one, instead of breaking out to the downside, actually go back up and tag the top. I would allow it to break. I'd allow it to make a 4-hour consolidation. Then I look for my sell setups. This would be the last pump trade I would sell. Not that it's not going to fall, but it's the last one I want to sell, because I'm not sure they wouldn't want to go tag the top. Aussie New Zealand, and there has a cat inside, they can do it. Aussie New Zealand, stay out of it. It's in a big daily consolidation. It's starting to look like this consolidation is never going to end, right? Remember the punk cat? Sounds like one that will never end. The first 3 wave we had, we thought we were going to go up. Remember from here, I was telling you guys, this thing is going to go up big time. And then they start to do this, and I'm like, okay, what are you doing? It looks like they're going to do something like this here. Maybe start dropping like this, go back up to the top, come back down to the bottom. This might take about a couple of months, like this one, right? Took a couple of months. And then this, like this one here, took a couple of months. So they may take a couple of months in here, and then they're going to drop here. But once they get here, we'll buy. Right? We will, if we get a good setup here for a sell, we'll sell. If we get a good setup here for a sell, you sell. If you get buy setups in here, you buy. But this would be your big buy. So come back next year to this. Either don't trade it or trade short term, right? Because it's not doing anything you can trade right now. Absolutely nothing. That's good. Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD, you can get a buy setup, and once they hit somewhere in that area, you would want to exit the trade. I think I showed you this pattern as well, right? We've got this move down, we've got a move like that, and we're making another consolidation in here to go down. So you may get a buy setup to that area, and then when it hits that area, you're looking for downside, right? When they hit there, you can start looking for downside. You're going to get a buy setup. Now, if you get the buy setup, take the trade. Right now, it might give you a flag here, and then you can buy. If they come back lower to this level, it might be even better for you. So if you don't get a flag, don't buy it. Wait for that flag before you buy. I go to 1 hour. I don't think we're making a flag right now. If they make a flag, if they come back lower here, you still buy it. It's still a buy setup. Aussie Chief. Stay out of this. You see I don't have anything in it. Stay out of it for a while. Aussie Yen. Okay, we're looking for some downside, and it looks like we're going to get it. We got the upside. We got the upside on that break there. See that breakout there? We got the upside, and now we're looking for the downside. And it's not very clear that it's going to go down right now. Take that out, because they did make an attempt. They pull back. They're making another attempt. You can pull this one here. And now the trade has become much shorter if you're not in it, right? So what we're looking for, we want them to come back and retest this low. We want this to come back here, retest this low, and then we will see whether we get a buy setup. I think this one is easy, right? That's not very complicated. These are easy patterns. So you can look for a very short-term sell. If you manage to get a good short-term sell, look for a short-term sell, and then we'll all look for buys. Canadian, we're expecting it to come here, but you might want to start to look for the buys. The same thing here, right? You can see. We expect this to come down here, but they're coming down like this. And when they do that, we all know what you're looking for. So stay out of it and wait for it to break. Let them go down, don't sell it. Wait for the break to the upside. New Zealand yen, same here coming down. If you were selling and there were good sell setups, you may want to be careful now, because it started to look like a 1, 2, 3 that will go back up. You don't have a buy setup right now. There isn't a sell setup. There were sell setups here. There were sell setups from this part, but you don't have any sell setup right now. CAD Swiss, stay out of that. New Zealand CAD, I think you stay out of this. This is also showing you the buy setup coming. By the way, you may want to look for that buy setup. They will do this, and then you'll probably get a buy. Right? You can see it. If they do that, you get a trade. If they don't, just stay out of it. CAD Swiss yen, sorry. Swiss yen broke. We expected that to break, and they're still going down. Let's see where the bigger picture is. I think we were looking for some downside somewhere in the Swiss yen, let's see. Yes, we expected them to break the top and then start to look for the downside. So if you get this downside, you got an impulse, you got 1, you got 2, you got 3. Every time you get that, you look for the sell. Now, if you're lucky, that sell goes. If you're not lucky, they come back here. And they go back like this, and they go back there. But every time they come to these areas, you're going to look for your sell setup, which is what we're looking for at the top there. Yep, and we got it. So I think you can still look for that sell setup. Looks like you're getting a nice flag here that might break. If this starts to break out, you can look for a sell setup, right? Can it go further up like the Swiss yen up? They can, but I don't think they will. They can if they go up further. All you will do is I don't think you want to buy it. If you're done by that structure in terms of a buy there, maybe. But then, if this comes down some more and you put it to break even, and then if they go back, you go. But I think most likely it's starting to look like a sell because they broke the previous top. Once they broke that previous top, it's a warning sign to be careful. But yes, they can make 1 more impulse up or 2 more impulses, a very short impulse, very short term. 4 hour, New Zealand, Swiss. Okay, stay out of this because from this point also it can go right back up here. Let me show you one of that so you will understand what I'm saying. it can go right back up there. See that? It could also do this and then drop here. Let me show you one of that so you understand what I'm saying. Now, I hope all of you understand what I'm saying. So the question you're going to ask, well, if it could go up and it could go down, how should we trade it? You can trade that. There are strategies to trade it if it's going to go up and if it's going to down. Structurally, you will see that structure in there for a buy, or you will see the structure for a sell. So when I said be careful of this, it could go both ways. What I'm saying to you is wait for the setups, wait for specific structures that will tell you you're going for a buy or you're going for the sell. Don't do anything right now because you don't have it in the charts right now. So, and I know my trolls are here because they come to all my webinar. They do love me, so they're here. So if you're one of them, when I say that, don't go write the crazy stuff he says is going to go up and it's going to go down. Try to sit down a little, take an extra half hour and figure out what I mean by that. And it's going to help you, right? You know I love you too, so it's going to help you. That's why I'm doing it for you. Figure it out for half an hour. Just figure out when I said it could go up and it could go down. Take a half an hour, sit down, listen, and you're going to get it, right? I didn't sit by and said, wait for the setups. It could be a buy, it could be a sell. So wait for the setups. Of course, you got to help these people. They're suffering. Trolls have a tough life. You don't know that? They must have. So when you get a buy setup, wait for the buy. If you get a sell setup, go for the sell. Wait for the setup. That's the number one. That's a clue in it, right? Because right now you should not be doing anything. Copper. See that? Is there a specific level the wave has already? No, that's a very good question, Keith. There is no specific level. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that people who trade advanced patterns are doing, is that they're basing the fact that there are specific levels where it is like a 618 fib, that's the magical fib. There is nothing magical about a fib. There's nothing magical about trend lines. The patterns doesn't have to be exactly the previous pattern it was. And they can be complex. So there is no specific levels, but there are specific patterns and specific setups. If you would listen to me every week, I would say, this is a specific pattern we know. This pattern is complex. We're waiting to see whether it's going to give us this setup, right? So there are specific patterns which we know, not specific areas, not specific levels, not specific. They have to give us specific patterns that, you know, are tradable for us. That's what we look at. And that's a whole different thing. We teach you how to identify the charts in terms of patterns, not in terms of levels and in terms of this or in terms of anything else. Because if you're looking for a specific pattern, you know what it is, right? And I always do this trick with my traders. When I tell them you have to know all the patterns and like, well, why should we know all the patterns? I always said, okay, I will name something and I want you to tell me what it is. And I pretty much could name something right now and none of you here will know what it is if you're not from my country. Right? That tricks work every time. You have to know what I'm talking about, right? Because if I say Crypto, many of you don't have a clue what that is. If not 99.9% of you have no idea what that is. You can't even begin to tell what it is. And that's the focus in it. Until you know something, you can't identify. If I say Apple, everybody knows what it is, right? Most of you are thinking about an iPhone, right? You may not be thinking about a fruit anymore, but you're thinking about Apple in terms of the company, right? But basically, you have an idea what Apple is, right? That's the whole point. You have to know these patterns. So it's not a guesswork. You have to know it. We teach you them. You have to. That's the only exception. There's a reason people are working as accountant because they learn how to do that. They learn the skill how to do that, right? Oh boy, Ivan, you wouldn't know. You know why people troll, and I can tell you why. I come in every week and I said, don't buy signals because you would lose your account. And there are about 50,000 people out there selling signals. And they get pissed off with it because people start unsubscribing from them. People who realize what I said is true start saying, darn, I'm with you for 1-3 years and I'm not, with your signals and I'm not making money, and they stop, right? So what they do, those people come and they troll me. They said, we got to destroy this guy because if we don't destroy him, he destroys our signal service business, which is no good. You should not be buying signals because you will never be successful at buying signals. You should not take a course that teaches support and resistance because it doesn't work. You should not take a course that teaches you pin bar stuff because it doesn't work. So that's why I will always get people trolling me, because there are a lot of scammers out there who I'm speaking against. I got thrown out of TradingView for that, for saying that, hey guys, you have some scammers on your site. You should take care of them. And their answer was, no. We don't care what content people share. We will take care of you. We rather throw you out because you're destroying our business. If they have 50 scammers in there, they rather keep the 50 scammers and get me out, right? That's the whole idea. Why keep one guy who's telling the truth when you have 50 other scammers giving contents? Well, let's do with the 50 scammers. That's easy, right? That's the difference. So I will always have people trolling me. I would say it as it is. So let them come and do it, right? Yes, signals and robots don't work. That's true. As a matter of fact, one guy in TradingView he said, bankers buy my signal. And I pretty much laughed for half a day. The guy actually said that we sell signals to bankers. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing on TradingView if you're selling signals to bankers? Hey, the minute one bank contacted me and said, I want to buy your signal, I'm okay. I'll see you guys. Bye-bye. I'm going to work for them, right? Selling signals to them. You know, they say this crazy stuff and somehow people believe them. You know, somehow believe that bankers buying your signals, they're paying you probably couple $100,000 for those. If they're buying signals from you. I have one guy from a bank who took my course. He didn't buy signals from me. He's one person working in a bank. There are millions of hundreds of thousands of people working probably in his bank. I got another one who is my bank manager. He wants to take the course, but that is for his personal use. It's not his bank is taking it. It's not his bank is going to pay him to do that. He's taking it for himself. You can have that, but none of those banks are buying signals from me, right? And they wouldn't. That's the whole point. They wouldn't do that. If they wanted, they like what you do, they'll probably hire you to work if they think that's part of the interest of their bank. But coming and TradingView and saying bankers are buying your signals because you're selling signals, you've got to think everybody else who's buying your signals is crazy. You're looking for idiots to buy signals from you if they believe that. And guess what? He got some. He literally got some. That's the funny part of it. He got some people to buy it from him. Yes, sir. So don't buy signals, guys, and spread the word. Tell everybody, I say, you don't buy signals, you'll never be successful. Let them come and attack me. I'll prove it to them. Anybody who says they're selling signals and they make people successful, let them come to me. I'll show them that they're lying. That's not true. Good. Crude oil. It's going up. And every time you get a flag, you buy, take profit. Remember last week I said, they're making another flag here probably. If they go, take profit. If you do get a sell set up, you can sell. They don't have a sell set up right now, but if you get a sell set up in it, you can sell. Let's look at the 1 hour and see. No, you don't have a sell set up here. You probably had a small one here, but you got out for break even. There is the sell setup. If they decide to break down on this one here, you'll get a short-term trade, take profit. Okay, guys, I will have to take a few minutes break here. If you guys give me 2 minutes, I'm babysitting with my son today. He was asleep and I noticed he just woke up. I'm watching him and the nanny here. So you guys give me 1 minute to get him and I'll finish the webinar in like a couple of minutes for you guys, right? So just give me a minute. I'll pause the recording and I'll be right back, right? Okay, looks like he's gonna sleep some more. Let me just resume the recording and let's go. Yep. Sorry about that. So let's go. We will go very fast now because we have to finish. You did the takeover. Okay, UK oil, pretty much same thing. You're getting actually a sell setup in UK oil. So if this plays out, you guys can look for that trade, right? The sell will probably go, a little deeper. So if you get it, you may go for that. Let's go. Natural gas, look for sell setups. We're at this level, and once they break that level, we're looking for downside. You can see that, right? So look for sell setups. Don't look for the buy. Right now, we're expecting them to come back here before they go. We're expecting this to complete that pattern. You may be getting a sell setup here now. I think you can see that. You might be getting something building up there right now. So you could probably get a good sell here. This one might go pretty fast. So those of you who trade natural gas, that's a good one. S&P 500, let's see. Okay, that correction worked out. This was a corrective structure. It went up. Another trade. They're making a lot of these small corrections and spike it up. Every time they do that, they move to a certain distance, start to correct, take profit. Or put a stop to break even. Because you don't know when it's going to fall, right? So you probably want to move your stop and keep it. It's stretching very much, which means very soon, when they finish this stretch, they will start to make deeper corrections or total fall, right? Which means that a daily, weekly corrections is going to come. So you're getting some divergence here showing you that, it's probably going to start correct very soon. We broke the top. If you're in the buy, you got a break even. It's not going. So I think right now you just wait some more. It's not giving you a buy or a sell setup. You don't have any right now. You can't buy this here and you can't sell it there. There's no reason to do any of those. You just got to wait until a formation is there for you to buy or sell. It looks like they're making a big correction in here now. I would probably say we are looking at some kind of a big flat or something, but we don't have enough information for that. If we do get enough information, they'll come here and then you may get a sell setup, right? I'll go through them very fast because he's taking a nap. So Nifty, we are at the top. Our traders are in the buy. You're in the buy too because you got to take, and you got to move your stops. Move your stops very tight because this one, they're going up slowly, but at what point do they stop and turn, right? That's the whole point. So, if you're buying these corrective structures, I don't see a big one. If they make another big corrective structure, then you can look for another big impulse. For now, you're buying, you just got to move your stops. Let's see where we go down. I think we can do some of these. Bitcoin I did for you guys already. It might be short term. You may get a sell setup there. By the way, this is an interesting one. This one of my traders showed me this one. And it's also very cheap. I think you can see this. You've got a 1, 2, 3 here, and you've got this. You're making some kind of a correction there. They'll probably go a little more down here, and then you'll get a probably buy setup, right? So you can start looking. I don't know what the hell this is, to be honest. One of my traders gave me, I think he asked me to look at it, analyze it for him, and tell him what to do with it, right? I'm like, okay, let me see. Structurally, you can start to look for buy setups, and it's pretty cheap, right? It's kind of like the next ripple. So you've got an impulse up, you're getting a deep correction. The correction could also take a while. I don't think this might be the end of it. They may do this, come back here, like very slow. Come back here, and then you might eventually get a very big move up. So, but you can buy. Right now, at least one more impulse up is possible. And it's very cheap. How low can it go after that, right? So same thing here with Ripple. I think they're going to go back up. I think this one looks short term, like they're going to crawl down here, but they will go back up because you will have to make something like a 1, 2, 3 here before you come and then go, right? I don't think this is all the correction, but I think that's the first impulse in the correction. So they're probably going to go somewhere here, right? So let's go. Gold, we did gold already. We did gold and silver earlier in the webinar. So you can go back and look at them, right? Ethereum, for those of you who look at that, there's another one of my traders sent me to. I think Ethereum, you're looking for a little more downside very soon. This looks like it's going to come back some more, right? You can see the possibility for a correction from here. So you may look for that correction. Or if this correction stays more like this rather than breakthrough, right, more like that, then you go buy. If they come sharp here and they break, then you can look for the sell. So it's more of a sideways move, you go for the buy. Well, I think this was the one also, an interesting one, yes. See, this is pretty low also. I don't know what the hell, I'll be honest, I don't know what the hell these are because I don't follow them. I just look at the structures for you guys. And we saw that break. You see, I draw that break there for them, that it's going to break. I just took it out because it break. It's going to probably crawl along very slow here. And then you start looking for buy. See this structure? I think all of you know that. It's going to crawl along a little here. And then you start buying. Somewhere around under 15 to 10 is your buy zone. So let me put that for you. This thing is probably going to come down. You can see the little cell set up there coming down to about this area. They may break this low here, this low that you have here. And somewhere here, you start buy. Right? Somewhere under that low, you start looking for buys, because even if they don't go up to break that top, they would likely start making impulses to the upside like this. Make more correction. So you're looking for buys. What that is, I don't ask me. I don't follow these things. I just look at the charts for people. They send me these charts. They want to look at the structure, and that's what I do. Copper, wait for a break to the upside. Copper is in a big daily consolidation, which means it could come down some more, but every time it comes down, it goes back very fast. So you probably wait for the break to the upside on it. And I think I showed copper already, right? Just wait for the break to the upside. See? They will eventually break that to the upside and give you a trade. If you can pick it from the low, any pairs with a good setup would be okay. They can come back to the low. I can actually see them doing this, coming back here. And then go, right? You notice this one, they came back, they drove the low and then go. So, okay, guys, I would have to abruptly end today one. We actually covered everything. So 115 people here. I don't know how many on YouTube, but if you guys think what you're getting here is worth something, it's quality, you like the work, then please help share the work. Share the links. You can go on YouTube and share it wherever you're in a group of traders, wherever you're in the social site. Help share it. You might save a soul. I can tell you, I get a lot of messages of people who said, hey, I saw your wedding for the first time, and I saw your webinars for the first time. I'm pretty happy about it, right? So if you guys can share, we should get 500 and more people in the room next week. It's only for the free webinar, so tell them to come and visit the free webinars. Oh, I took the Russian weather to Dubai, right? It's a little cold in Dubai now, right? I actually like it here. It's amazing. I like this weather. I don't mind living in weather like this year round. Anybody know a country that has weather like this year round? I don't want it hot. I don't want it cold. I want it just like this, all year round. I just love it. I don't like the heat too much though. So this is like the best weather. India is hot, my friend. It is not like this year round. So, okay, guys, thank you for coming. All of you have a wonderful evening and trade with care. See all of you next week. Don't forget to help share the links. All right? Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.